This is Learn Piano in the Car, episode 13. I'm Carol Brotherston, and today we're touching articulation. Articulation is the way the notes sound. Think of it as the way you speak. So I'm going to demonstrate actually. It's probably the easiest thing to do. So legato is a word for you to remember. Legato means smoothly. So if a piece was legato, or it could be staccato. Staccato means short and clipped. I'll play the same thing as staccato and you'll hear the difference. Legato, staccato. Okay, when you see music, how do you know if it's legato or staccato? Well, a note that is to be played staccato would have a dot underneath it, and the dot means staccato. That's one or two things. So legato and staccato, two more words for you to remember. Also in music, you may see from time to time what's called a phrase mark or a slur, and that's like a curved line over the top of a group of notes, and that means at the end of those, so you play those notes that are underneath the phrase mark, generally they would be played legato, and the very last one, the very last note in the phrase, you would almost play staccato. The easiest way to learn to play a phrase mark is probably to play the last note as staccato, because what it means is at the end of the phrase there's a slight break before you press the next note. There's not a break in the rhythm, so you've still got your steady tick, but it's a break between notes. It's very subtle, but the way to express it a little bit more obviously is to make the last note in the phrase staccato. A phrase mark, a curved line over the top of a group of notes, remember, can also be thought of as a singer's slur. Imagine the piece of music had words to it. So the few notes that you're playing, you're singing instead of playing them. So at the end of the phrase mark, that's where you would take a breath. It's helpful to think of it like that and relate that to your fingers. So it's like as if you're taking a breath. So if you're taking a breath, you're not singing. If you're taking a breath, relate to that to how you play the piano, you're not playing. It's just for a split second and it doesn't affect the rhythm, as I said. You've still got your rhythm. It's just a slight nuance in the articulation. And when you're first learning, it does probably help to play the last note in the phrase as staccato. And then once you've got used to doing that, you'll be able to hear what you're aiming for. And then you can instead of making the last note staccato, you can just be mindful that you need to make a slight break before you start again. And when you start again, when you move on past that first phrase mark, you also need to be mindful that unless the next note is at the beginning of a bar, you don't want to press it too heavily. Just be mindful of that. Of course, the best way to work through all of this is to get feedback from a teacher. And of course, you can get feedback from me in my private Facebook group. If you just look me up on Facebook and join my private group, I'm more than happy to give you feedback and little hints and tips on your playing. So utilize that, it's free. I don't know why anybody wouldn't accept that offer. I'm offering you a little bit of free feedback. Take it up. It can save you so much time to get a little bit of feedback before you go down a rabbit hole and do something wrong. And the final thing I'm going to say today about phrase marks is sometimes people confuse them with ties. A tie is not a phrase mark. It looks similar, but a tie is where two notes of the same note are tied together, and you would play them for the value, the combined value of the two notes added together. You only get a tie between two notes. You won't get a tie if there's a note in between those two notes. Then it's not going to be likely to be a tie. So just be mindful. They look the same, but they're not the same. Okay, I think that's all from me just now. A few new words there. Articulation is all about legato and staccato, which is about the shape of your music and how it's playing, how you're expressing it. And you also had phrase marks mentioned and ties. So a few more words for you to remember there. Thank you very much. I'm Carol Brotherston. You can join my academy on my website www.perfectpiano.org.uk, or on the website sign up for the free newsletter which contains my 7-day piano reset is on the website. You can get it by signing up for the newsletter. And send me your questions. I'd love to hear them. info@themusicroom.org.uk. I'm Carol Brotherston. I am your greatest champion. Come and talk to me. Have a great day. Bye.